Greetings, everyone. We are in our final couple of pages left of the of this sketchbook. So this is officially the second last page, and then I have this that I put in behind, and then there's that's the final page there of the sketchbook. This is just to make sure that if bleed through happens, it doesn't happen on that last page. Because this is the second last page, I'm going to continue doing Christmas cards with it, and this one's just going to be another fun one. It's going to be basically kind of like a Santa's Little Helper. I'm going to try to do a version of an American Greyhound, and we'll see how it goes. We'll do it in one shot, as I often will do. And yeah, we'll see what happens here. So this could be fun. A lot of these animals, to me anyway, dogs in general, have this specialized ability to kind of emote, or how we feel like they might emote feelings with us. And I think it's all about their eyes. So generally dogs are like a pack animal. And when you keep one around you, they're under the impression that you are kind of their alpha to some degree. So that's kind of neat. Growing up, I was around lots of animals. Labradors. Those are remarkable animals. Let's zoom in on this one just for fun. I'll bring it down here. So we'll see how this goes. I have a rough idea how to draw this particular creature, and I'm just going to kind of rifle my way through this as we move along here. So if it ends up not looking exactly like a Greyhound, well, I'm doing this without reference material anyway, so. Although I will admit, I did take a moment to look up the animal beforehand. But as some of you may have heard me ramble on before, I do enjoy trying to draw things from memory whenever possible. We'll see how this goes. I think it's interesting that you can adopt Greyhounds after they're finished of their running careers, and that to me is a wonderful thing, because I don't really know what happens to the animal after their running days are over. My hope is that, they kind of get to retire, but I don't know if there's an incentive for the owners to keep them the same way as you might like a racehorse. And it seems in a way that they keep this animal primarily for its ability to run. So I don't know if there's like a breeding program. Anyway, they're beautiful animals. I don't know if I was going to put a little hat on or not, but we'll see. There's always room to add things in after the fact. So this doodle request came from, I think it's, well, I'm not sure how it's pronounced or if it's like separate words put together, but gyubies would be the person who suggested this. And we'll see how this goes, as I said. It's kind of going to be a bit of a sketch anyway. Put some fun little eyelashes on here. Now, let's move this up just a little bit. I've only seen Greyhounds racing in videos. I've never actually gone to a track. And I'm sure it's entertaining to some degree. I don't really know, but yeah, I don't know what I think of it. It could be interesting. This fork might be a little extreme. But don't worry, we'll fancy it up along the way. Now, in fine dining, typically, you would keep your right fork, or sorry, your meat fork, in your left hand to do the cutting of the meat. Now, but we're dealing with paws right now. And as you know, creatures like this may not really be into the concept of using knives and forks, so please don't think that somehow I'm letting you all think that this is how these wonderful creatures eat. This is just fun. Now we're going to change this style of cutlery just a little bit. To one of the longule steak knives. And my understanding, there's like only a couple of companies in the world that are supposed to be able to manufacture this very specific steak knife. I may have made a mistake with that blade. I don't remember if it kind of curves or it's not a recurve anyway. But up here, a lot of these were like folding, and there would be like a little picture of a bumblebee there. So they were kind of a big deal. And I don't remember how that blade would look, but it's supposed to fold into the handle. Or one version of it anyway. Now, is it just going to be a plate with some sliced delicious food, or will it be an entire small meal bird. While I'm thinking about that, let's do something with this here. How about a fun little hat, maybe? Okay. Now, something that we can do, if we want to be crafty, because we already know that we already have this part done and we're doing this in ink anyway, we're going to set up the hat to be here with this hangy ball thing. Okay, now to get at this, let us make it a small turkey What a strange thing that we do. So I remember being a kid, for the turkey dinner, we'd go over to my grandmother's place, and she'd been working on it all day, but the stuffing was made inside, or cooked inside, of the animal. Now that has kind of fallen out of some sort of fashion, I suppose, at this point in our lives, which seems weird to me because, you know, people have been doing this for quite some time. And then, you know, by recommendation, I think it was because of salmonella or something like that, that they stopped. Something that I also kind of remember from the turkey dinners was that some of the innards of the creature came in a bag. And so my grandmother would make like a version of soup, I believe, from the giblets, which is an awesome name for that. Now it's weird. Maybe this looks more like a chicken. Anyway. I was never really one that enjoyed meat off the bone either. So some people like to grab onto the turkey leg. And that was like, you know, you could pretend that you're in medieval times. Just hold on to the drumstick. Those are good memories, though. Mashed potato and gravy. Now, we're going to add some of the fixings around this, which is an odd way to display the meal that you spent time preparing. You'd have some of the fixings on the platter as well. Just based on the size of this, you'd almost think, oh no, is this a chicken? Well, let's say it's a turkey. We'll set up this platter like so. Okay, so we're kind of winding this one down a little bit. We will perhaps add some color to it. Right now I'll just do the outline quickly enough, which is something that I like to do. Treat it like a coloring book in a way. Now, before starting this video, I tried to practice writing down Merry Christmas in a different language, so we'll see how that goes. That doesn't look that bad. Again, I don't really know exactly how that is supposed to look. The longule knife. We will fix a little bit of this fork. So if you're drawing along with me, you can add whatever style of cutlery, doodle as you see fit. We'll do a little bit more on the face of this, our buddy here. Then, I'm thinking we'll go with gray for our Greyhound. That seems like fun. I know some people that own former race Greyhounds, so I'm kind of trying to reference that in my head. But for some reason, I picture these creatures always being kind of chilly. Like I just picture them always wearing a sweater, which is kind of what I was going to originally do here, and I guess I still can. So let's scoot this up this way. Make this, I forget what this sort of loop style clasp is referred to as. The loop goes on this side, over here. Anyway, I do like detailed things if I can figure it out, but we are not there with this. We'll fix part of that, and we will scoot in this. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. So, next thing we're going to do, and let's see how far off I am with this, because it may not be awesome. Could be, though. Let's see if I can remember how it goes. It's a cool looking square. Like that. Now maybe I'll go back over this with a marker. After all, the concept of writing is really lots and lots of symbols, which is kind of cool. Now, I think there's a really cool looking tree branch kind of device looking there, and another almost house-like thing. Cool symbol. I think that's it. And an exclamation point. Something like that. So if I'm far off, I apologize. I don't mean to offend anyone. As I said, I'll go back over this with a marker, I think. So up here, I've written in Korean, Merry Christmas. And as I said, I might be off a little bit in that. It would be like Merry Christmasu. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to add a little bit of color to this, and then we'll be done for the evening. It's evening where I am right now, so it may not be where you are. Quickly spin in a little bit of brown eyes. Next, let's work on this delicious turkey. And we'll do what we can to make sure it's cooked properly. So the ink that I use, it is not what I would call a permanent. So it does smudge, which I kind of like, because in some of my doodles, I actually bring out a paintbrush and kind of smear, which I like to do. Smudge it a little bit. Fill that in just a little bit. The ends would be a little darker because there's a little less material, although I think most people, when they cook one of these, they will cover certain parts with tin foil, and that saves a little bit of that burning from happening. Next, we are going to add a little bit of green in here. Now in the background, you can hear my buddy Neville reminding me that we're about 27 minutes in at this point, something like that, I think he's saying. So I hear you. Cool. Let's try a little bit of some orange in there too. We're just dressing up what's going on this plate, this platter, something like that. Next, we're going to go with red. We'll drift that in for the hat, because you know, Dalmatians and what are some other animals that are known for wearing cool Santa hats? I don't know. Chihuahuas, Labradoodles, and of course Greyhounds. They wear cool hats like this too. All right, that's fun. Now, we are going to bring out some slight highlights of the gray and the Greyhound by just putting in a little bit of gray. We'll let the smudging happen a little bit, little smudgeries. And let that natural blending kind of happen. Now, I should admit I don't always like to do colors in one setting, because sometimes it's just better to leave things black and white, for me anyway. And that way you give somebody else the opportunity to color it if they want, or, well, if you do things in print, so like if I'm working on like some sort of a little comic-y thing, and you're passing it on to somebody else, then you leave it in black and white. And let their department do that for print. So I've worked on newsletters and things like that. We'll finish up the paws here. I'm trying to think of what I want the sweater to look like. Just sort of where I'm playing around with that idea. I do like these markers, just because if you concentrate a little bit more on them, on the area, they will get a bit darker. Okay. Next, I am going to work on this collar like so. And we'll go with, let's say, a nice purpley violet color. Because that's how we're going to do it. Oh, we might as well do the toenails too. I mean, if we're really going to work at this, why would we deny that? Let's go back to that. Red. We'll match the hat. Nails done. I think that's kind of it. I will look over just a couple more things. You know what? Let's do a little bit more with this sweater. That way it's filled in a little bit more. Okay. Last thing, we're going to pick a blue, and we're just going to fill in the handle of this knife, the fancy Longueuil steak knife. All right. That is it for now. I think that's pretty fun. And I think that's sort of the goal. So in about, well, a little less than 40 minutes, we have a Greyhound getting ready for a delicious turkey dinner, holding onto a knife and fork, saying Merry Christmas in Korean. Yeah, I think this one's pretty fun. All right, folks. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll see you all again very soon. Have a great day.